Altcoins are getting absolutely wrecked. Over the past 6 months, you have missed out on some of the best investment opportunities of this lifetime. In fact, 2 weeks ago, you was probably asking yourself the question, should I have got involved sooner? You was probably feeling a little bit of FOMO. And now, on the average retracement, now most people are saying the market is wrecked. Everything is going to zero. Or is it? In today's video, I'm going to break down some news, some analysis, and some altcoins that I am looking forward to making ridiculous gains from this bull market. My name's Tyrell, and I'll show you how to make money and invest the profits. So let's kick things off with Bitcoin. Now, over the past few days, I've been speaking about this pullback and the bearish divergence from the daily RSI. Now, I mentioned, and I'll break down a few of these lines later on and a little bit about the trade, but I mentioned about this bearish divergence and the fact that we was continuing to rise for the price of Bitcoin. Now, as you can see, this is it's a lagging indicator. It isn't something that you should follow 24/7, but for some reason it just works, right? And if you look, as you can see, the price started to go down with the RSI. It started to slope down, but the crypto price continued to rise, right? And in the end, what usually happens, if you can spot that with just some basic TA and resistance level, you can catch some decent short trades. Now, currently, we are up on our short trades, and I just moved my stop loss to profit. I took about 50%, and I'm going to see if it rides all the way down to the bottom of this range over here as well, which is at 31,800 level. And it's also interesting because this is also the level which I mentioned is something where I think if we do retest it, shows a lot of strength with the crypto market. You know, at the end of the day, if we retest this level, the one that was resistance for a long time, and we turn it into support, that's great in my opinion for the crypto market. Is it great for the short term and over leveraged traders? No, there will be a lot of liquidations, but that's what the exchanges want at the end of the day. So Bitcoin, in my opinion, I'm just following what's in front of me, right? I'm going from the range, the wedge. Usually, if I make it a little bit clearer for you, usually it's a little bit different, right? On average, you'll see something a little bit like this. And we'll come down here, like this. So usually there's a lot of people who will try enter trades from trend lines, which is okay. Like TA, there's nothing wrong with TA. I'm not a TA master myself. I'm not even a trading master at all. I always say this to people. But, you know, if you enter a trade from here, most people put a stop loss below, and there'll be tons of stops over here. So usually what we see at these times is we see a dump. Most of the time it's actually to the bottom of the range. So it will be here, or it can even be lower, right, to the bottom of here. And then we'll actually regain the trend line. So usually it goes down, stops out the people, we regain the trend line, and then we rise. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. This trade is just running for free. It's in profit. So there's nothing really complicated about that one, right? I'm still sticking to this. And this is one of the things where you're probably looking at earlier thinking, what are all of these measurements? Well, it's because I'm still sticking with this strategy. If we go to the weekly here, right? I'm sticking with the same strategy which I've stuck to throughout the whole of this market cycle. And this is followed, right? The cheapest price to buy Bitcoin itself has always been in like 2 years before BTC halving, in this early quarter here. Now, a year before has always been the best times to buy altcoins, right? When I mentioned earlier, you was probably one of those people who in the past 6 months was, you know, wishing that you bought some of these coins now, which are up 3, 4, 5x from the lows, right? That's the reason why getting involved at these times is important. And it's the reason why I'm also going to be discussing altcoins towards the end, right? So you've probably got another 112 days of getting good entries on altcoins. So when you're looking at projects like Quant, which I did get stopped out on this trade today, I put the trade, I don't necessarily do signals, but I like to show people different ways of making money online and stuff like that. And since my Snapchat's gone, this is the only way I share information. So if you want to know about Ty's talks, if you want to know about different crypto plays, for example, Chappies, which I shared last week, and now it's up 33% in a day. We're about 50% for a position. Or obviously the quant, which didn't go too well, but as you can see, there's always plays in here to make money. And if you like money, you should join the Telegram group there as well. Now, in terms of QNT, right? QNT is a great example of finding positions in tokens which, a few weeks ago, if you got involved anywhere, October, even early November, and you looked at the all-time highs here, you're talking about 30% gains, right? Never mind other tokens, for example, which you can look at like AVAX, right? Which a few days ago compared to now, you're talking 160%. Or Rune, which is also on a rally right now. And at the bottom, you could have brought in, I made 5 or 6 times your money. So this is in the past, few months, this year, that you could have had access to making anywhere from 2 to 5 times your money on market with large market cap altcoins, right? And now this isn't a thing where it's like, okay, the market's bearish, we're going to zero. This is the thing like, okay, where am I spotting my buys? Where am I making entries? When I shared the crypto list and the best tokens to look at, some of those tokens up. Again, AVAX was on the list. Rune is on the list. HBAR is on the list. Moonbeam's on the list. Polkadot, Matic. All of these tokens which are doing very, very well. Even at the time when we shared Bitcoin. If you couldn't get into them then, and you was looking at them before and you was thinking, oh, I wish I got in. And now we're at a position where the market's pulling back. This isn't a thing where you think the arse is falling out of altcoins. This is the thing where you think, okay, where do I find my entries? Now, one of the things we was looking at is quant. Now, quant, I got my entry in around about here. I did get stopped out. But again, for anybody else that's looking at the market and you wasn't involved, you can just look at it in hindsight and think, you know what, maybe I can get in. Maybe these are good long-term buy opportunities. Because if you look at the weekly, right, and we zoom out here, I'll get rid of the indicators to keep it clean. But if we look at the weekly, you can see, right, just back to returning is 50%, right? And all-time high, 340%. Similar situations with Elrond, right? Which Elrond I've been talking about since we was at these levels. And as you can see, now it's up 100% already, right? Currently, it's retraced, right? In the past few days, Elrond has been, let's have a look. Elrond has pulled back almost 24%, about 20%, right? In literally the past 3 days. So these are times where you can spot entries in tokens, which in a few days can do hundreds of percent. I mean, realistically, if you're looking at TA, if we come back down to this next level, you get a good entry here. You're talking, 200% to the next leg up. That's a two extra money. So yeah, just having a look at these tokens, there is a lot of opportunity in altcoins, and there's a few of the smaller market cap altcoins that I want to share with you. Now, my strategy for smaller market cap altcoins is as followed. As you can see, right now we're in mid cap time. So this is where I expect mid caps to be moving, just like they are now, whether that's up, loads of money, or whether that's down loads of money. It's volatile in the altcoin space, in the larger market cap altcoin space, right? And where there is volatility, there is money, right? Where there's price moving up and down, you can make money, right? And I don't expect the next alts that I'm going to show you to do anything crazy until this area here, right? This area here, which is about March 2024 to March 2025, okay? I don't expect these 50x's, 20x's, 100x's to start appearing until this time round. And the reason is because if we look at Google Trends right here, which is one of the things I like to check, is something that's made me a lot of money in e-commerce, and it does in crypto, is looking at the trends. Because where there is search, where there is views, where there is people, where there is attention, there is currency. And right now the attention is only just peaking up for crypto. It's not maxed out yet. When the attention maxes out, that's when all of these mid caps, okay, like your Moonbeam, like your QNT or KDA, they'll be too expensive. They'll already, some of them, be at all-time high by the time people get interested. So what do they want next? They want some of these coins that I'm already going to be entered in. You see, that's the trick. Okay, moving against the grain and being in it. And if you think about it, right, if you was invested into mid caps, right, over here, while BTC was at its lows, regardless whether it went down more or not, because hindsight is king, but regardless of whether it went down more or not, right, between 2022, early 2023, right, early this year or late last year, you now would be sat in multiples of profit because you brought ahead before anybody was bothered about AVAX being the next thing for BlackRock, right? Or anybody was bothered about Elrond being one of the highest movers, before anybody cared about crypto, right? And they were just worried about Bitcoin. You bought in early, now you're reaping the rewards. It's the same thing with some of these coins. So, for example, Chappies, right? Chappies is a great token. It's very, very new. They launched recently, and it's the same token which last week I called, and they continue to rise, right? Now, I do think that Chappies will continue. They've got a great team. Their team are very consistent, and it actually has use case. Like Chappies, if you actually look into it, has a great use case for communities, and they will make money, because at the end of the day, when you raise money as a project, you want your groups to be pumping. You want your Telegram groups to be going off, and Chappies helps you with community engagement and real organic community engagement, not like the last cycle when you was joining Telegram groups. It had 100,000 people in the group, but then when it launched, no one bought the token. Why? Because most of the things in there were fake. They probably had like 100 real people. Okay, but not Chappies. Chappies gives you the opportunity to get people in your group, and then it depends on your spin on market and how valuable you are getting conversions to get those people to invest. So it's very good as a marketing funnel. Next one is Mirror Games. Now Mirror Games continues to outperform the market. I mean, overall in the last month alone, we're up over 100%. Currently we're at 0.04 cents. I'm waiting for a 10x on this. You guys see my videos on my YouTube channel. I told you guys before, right? Token or nodes, it doesn't matter, right? Ideally, if you can't afford 5-10 grand to be buying nodes, then token is still, in my eyes, a good investment, because you're looking at 10x, right? So look at it from my perspective. I'm keeping the rewards. I'm not selling my rewards until I get a 10x. So it's no different to if I invested now and I was waiting to get a 10x on my tokens, right? And that's the strategy. If you look over the year as well, so far, we're 50% away from all-time high. So once this goes into price discovery, if you guys don't know what price discovery is, that's when you don't know what the next resistance is, right? It's past all-time high. It was like BTC. Once it goes past, everything's imaginary, right? And when it's like that, in speculative investments like this, there is no limit to how high it can go. Usually, you compare it by market cap, and the nearest thing to compare it by market cap is Gala Games, and Gala Games is at like a $300 million market cap, right? So, yeah, Mirror Games, big up, right? Big up. Next one we have Blockbank. Now, Blockbank, you guys have heard me speak about this a lot, especially if you came from Carl the Moon Show. The last time I was speaking about Blockbank, if we zoom out, especially if you zoom out to the all-time, I was speaking about Blockbank at these levels, about 0.019. And the reason is because I made a lot of money from Swissborg, right? And the reason why I understand about Swissborg is it's simple. It allows people to onboard and look for cards. I was in a Telegram group the other day, and I'm in the chat, and people were asking, they was like, okay, what's the best crypto card to get? And people were saying, without my judgment, it's a completely random group, and they were speaking about Blockbank, right? So by them getting users, the more people that start using crypto, the more people that will use Blockbank, and the more people that will use Blockbank, the more people that will buy the token. Simple, right? And then it pumps, right? It's like network effect. I think it's like Newton's law, one of these guys' laws. And that's how it works. And that's how you evaluate companies at the highest level. You value it by the amount of users they've got. Now, currently we're at 0.39 cents, right? 0.039. Now, the all-time high for Blockbank is about 24 cents. Now, do I think we'll get to 24 cents? I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure whether we will pass all-time high. Like before, when I was looking at Swissborg back in the day, even if you look at Swissborg now, again, no different to any other token, but they've kept good volume. But when I was looking at Swissborg, this is how it was. So let's say you're looking at Swissborg pre-2021 bull market. It's exactly the same, right? It's crazy, right? Look at, let's spin it back. Let's look at Blockbank. Okay, and then let's look at Swissborg. Bear in mind, they do exactly the same thing. That chart looks pretty much the same, especially if I zoom it in a bit more and we put it here. It's exactly the same. In fact, it's almost the same amount of time. 1, 2 and a bit, right? 1, 2 and a bit. So it's exactly the same amount of time. And when you look at the rise that Swissborg had, it's that network effect when the altcoin season hits, right? When the altcoin season hits, right? What's that? 2021 March. We go to BTC. We zoom out. We look at the year 2021. Okay. April, March. Right? What does it say here? Guys, what does it say here? Altcoin season. Okay. When was the best time to buy? A year before, during the mid-cap season. Exactly the same as now. No different. Right? Mid-cap season. Blockbank. Altcoin season. Right? Blockbank. That's what I'm picturing, right? And you know, does it always play out like that? No. That's why you have a diversified portfolio. You get cash flow. You don't take crypto too seriously, and you don't invest all money that you can't lose. And you understand that this is not financial advice, right? Next one is Astra Protocol. Now, Astra Protocol, similar fashion, you know, they launched in February. They didn't do well at all. Apparently, word on the street is these guys denied Binance. Now, they have now been hit with the don't mess with Binance. I was going to swear them, but I said don't mess with Binance stuff, right? So as you can see, you don't mess with CZ. Their price has done nothing but deteriorate. Now, one thing about Astra, which is cool, is it's a regulatory compliance. This is an institutional play. But for me, I don't know. I look at the team and I think, you know what? These guys must be able to do something. Like they're all in suits. They all look like they're serious businessmen. And I don't know. I'm an anti-suit guy. I think anybody in suits is just dodgy. But I mean, look, if these guys are serious, if they want to back it, then I'm expecting them to do something with the token, right? Because this is 50% down, or I think maybe even 10x down, don't quote me on this, from seed price. Okay. Now that is ridiculous. It means that just to get up to, you know, let's say the next leg up, that's 0.04. Right now we're at 0.004. So that's a 10x just to get to there. So risk to reward factor, you know, I just put half an ETH in this. I left it. I thought, you know what? The risk to reward is great. I brought all of the tokens that I had at seed at this price. So I basically doubled my position for $1,000, which to me, I was like, you know what? Let's see what happens, right? Because even Astra hasn't had volume yet. They haven't had the bull run yet. Okay, so why not, when you see something's down 99%, allocate a tiny, like even 1%. Like imagine you put 1% of your portfolio into Astra Protocol and then it does 100x. You've doubled your money from a 1% risk. It's crazy, right? Now, the reason why I like Astra is because they are backed by Republic. And if you do go ahead and take a look at Republic's portfolio, you will see that they are a tier 1 venture capital fund. They invest a lot into different projects. They are partnered, and I think they have a lot of co-investments with Animoca Brands, LD Capital, Spartan Group, GSR, and Shima. Right, so this is a multi-million, if not multi-billion-dollar investment fund. As you can see, the market cap of all the tokens that they've invested into is about 18.5 billion. Okay, so they invest into a lot of projects, and some of their leading projects that you can see are things like Avalanche, Polygon, Near Protocol, Flow, Terra Luna Classic, GAL, Wilder Protocol, right, K Network, right, some good projects, right? And as you can see, look at the ROI for some of these projects at this price. You're talking Polygon, they've got 300x return on Polygon. Avalanche, they had a 42.1x on Avalanche. Near Protocol, 5.9, okay? All-time high ROI on this, some of them are ridiculous. For example, Polygon, like 1,000x, that's crazy, right? But it's real returns that you really can get. Now, one of the interesting things is the sheer amount of projects. So this is one thing that you always take into consideration is, look at this, right? How many projects did they have to invest into to get the 1000x, right? To get the 290x, the 100x, the 140x, the 156x, right? Over 50 projects. So when I'm looking at my portfolio, I'm taking the same thing into consideration, because if these guys are $1 billion company, then surely I must have to apply a bit of common sense and think, okay, I am just the average investor, one-man squad. So for me to get 100x, 200x, 300x, then I also must invest into 50 projects. Now, I also must have a diversified portfolio between DeFi, blockchain services, GameFi, and other services, right? And then hopefully, maybe I will receive the same thing, or 1000x, right? Or a 300x, or 114x. You know, that's the way you are looking things. Don't just invest into one project. And imagine if these guys only invest into K Network. Well, they'd be broke right now. Well, only invested into Aura. Okay, they would be broke, right? But these guys led the round for Astra. I don't think they're going to let their portfolio go down so bad. I definitely think they'll be advising them and staying with them, because at the end of the day, being an investor, you want every investment to be successful as long as your advice is listened to. You know, if the project wants to do well and the CEO wants to do well and take your advice, then you want obviously that to do well, because you make money, right? And I think these guys want to make their money back at least, right? By the time they make their money back, I'll be up 10x, which is fun, right? So that's that one. And that's it in terms of the crypto stuff. In terms of the crypto news, there's a few things that I reckon you should stick around for. And that is Fidelity wants to create an Ether ETF, joining BlackRock to double down on crypto. Now, this is crazy, guys, because the endless amounts of ETFs is nuts. That means there's not just going to be one ETF. There's not just going to be 2, 3, 4. It's like there's going to be 5+ ETFs on the market. And the amount of volume that is going to come into the crypto space, not necessarily just Bitcoin, but the space alone, is ridiculous. Billions and billions of dollars entering the crypto market, right? Price surge driven by a potential Bitcoin fund, right? Non-stop, the news around Bitcoin is crazy right now, and everybody wants to know about the ETF. So I feel like that will be the catalyst for Bitcoin. Again, going back to the chart here, you'll see, I think once we get around BTC halving, you know, in and around that March to April time, we're going to start seeing ETFs release, and that will drive value into the crypto market. So that's it for today, guys. It's been a little bit of a longer video. I know I wanted to go into a lot of detail because I get tons of comments, people asking me about, should I get involved now? What's the best thing to do? How do I make money? What's the best altcoins in? When do you take profit? I've just explained all of those things. So by now, if you don't have an answer, you need to go back through the video, save this video and take notes, because